Hey, welcome to the Bag Chatter podcast. I am Brian, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, a man who might actually have a side hustle that's helping his golf game. Adam, how you doing today?
Yeah, what's going on with that? Unbelievable. I got a job that is helping my golf game. So,
I love it and I hate it.
yeah, I've been, a stay-at-home dad since my son was born. Just got a part-time job at a driving range that has Top Tracer and simulators. And I'm not going to lie to you, whenever it's slow, I'm just hitting balls in the simulator. And so I have hit balls every day for the last 9 days. And I'm going in tonight, so when we're done here, I'm going to go, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to hit more balls. I get practice sessions in almost daily.
That's impressive. Of course, we should say that your employer is aware of this and actually okay with it, encourages it.
I didn't say that. No, no, I'm definitely definitely
Okay,
not that.
so we'll
No,
probably have to
yeah,
edit
no,
this out.
it is no, it's approved. It's approved hitting during the slow times.
Hmm.
But I'm loving it. I feel like my ball striking is gonna get better. It has to.
You would think. You would think. Golf is always logical. It always makes sense.
Hmm.
There's always causation and correlation and all the big C words. So I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous that
Hmm.
while you're on the clock, you are able to work at your golf game. And frankly, it's been showing a little bit, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I know exactly how I feel about it. Really, really good, Brian. We're gonna be like member partners. We're in a tournament right now. Why would you be, jealous of this when it could benefit you?
Well, I if you're watching this on YouTube, you will see that I have my golf costume on. I just stepped off the course. Uh, I played with a buddy today named Todd, and haven't played with him in quite a while. This morning, I was going over. Okay, like I want to make sure I have proper expectations for this round. I want to make sure because old Brian would have been like, "Hey, gonna be good to see Todd again. Who cares if you
Mhm.
shoot better or worse than him? Just go up, blah blah blah."
Right.
So I was thinking this morning, like, would I rather would I rather beat Todd but kind of play poorly, or would I rather lose to Todd but actually have like a great round?
Hmm.
So I really thought about that. What do you think about that if you're going into just a random casual round with a random friend?
For all that we talk about me being competitive, unless so, I don't want to lose to somebody who's significantly worse than me.
Hmm.
But all I care about is playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like if so, I'd way rather shoot 73 and have someone shoot the round of their life and shoot 71. I wouldn't love that they had that over me, but I'd way rather shoot 73 and lose than 80 and win
Yeah.
in almost every circumstance. There would be matches where sure,
Right.
like a club match or something, then I don't care. I just want to win. But in a casual round, definitely I'd rather play well.
Yeah, and that's where I landed this morning. I was like, you know what? I would rather play well unless we put some stakes on the line, or
Hmm.
it was like you're saying a club match or something where no, the goal today is to win. That's different. And so I think competitive Brian, new Brian is like understanding that. So I went into today really hoping to play better, more so than beat Todd. Turns out I could do neither, which is why maybe this whole podcast is going to have like a negative sort of downer feel to it. I'm just going to apologize. You're going to have to bring me out of the doldrums, Adam. That's going to be your goal today.
I don't have it in me. I'm sorry. You can stay. You can stay there. No, I think the biggest difference between old Brian and new competitive Brian is that new competitive Brian talks about himself in the third person a lot. Just so
This is true.
you know, new competitive Brian's here. He's here to stay. I think
Wait,
that's
just
the.
wait until we get to Brian 3.0. Then
Oh
it's going to be
no,
a real thing.
I can't even imagine what that's gonna be.
Uh,
I'm a little
um,
afraid. I'm a little afraid.
no, I shot 83 today, 11 over at Windcote. It's a more difficult golf course, and the wind was blowing pretty good. But and I played okay. I had a triple on a par five. I've been having blow up holes lately. You've seen a couple of them where I stack bad shots like back to
Hmm.
back. Sometimes three bad shots. I lost three
Yeah.
balls on hole 14 last
Yeah.
week, and you're smiling as you think of it.
I'm thinking of it because a lot of people at that moment would have been in pocket, or they would have just, said I'm taking a triple or whatever it is. You had a 12 footer for nine and you grinded. You were grinding over that putt for nine and you made it. And so, you know what? You kept a 10 off the card with a nice 12 footer to save the nine. And I just noticed, I was like, I think this might be a competitive Brian thing where it's like you were just sort of like, yeah, no, I'm hitting all these shots. I'm gonna play this out. I
Yeah,
could see your brain saying that. I could almost hear it, even though you were very sulky and silent.
it's 100% what happened. Dizelle was kind of the putt was like I don't know 8 feet maybe, and Dizelle was kind of like, oh, that's good, unless you guys have a match or something. And yeah, I should have picked it up. It was for nine, but it was like, no, you have made such a mess of this hole. You made your bed. You will not lie in it. You will grind over this putt. I didn't even know if it was for eight, nine, or 10. Turns out it was for nine. I gotta stop making the blow up holes. I got to get back and play. I got to stay focused on my next swing. And before I forget, Todd did play like the round of his life. Not the round of his life. He's been in the 70s before, but he hasn't been playing as much golf over the last few years. He's got a bet going with a buddy about whether or not he can break 80 this year, and he needed to play the last three holes in two over to break 80. And I wouldn't say he fell apart, but he kind of did. But he still played really well. He shot 82, I shot 83. And again, I didn't beat him and I didn't play well.
It's a great morning for you.
So here
Just
we
a
are.
fantastic time.
Yeah, the only thing it accomplished was that it got me a little closer to one of my golf goals, which I think is where we should start today. We do transparency check-in number two. We're going to check in on some of our social media brand goals and also on our golf goals. So let's start with you. If you can remember your golf goals, I should have told you to pull those up so you had
Yeah,
them right in front of you.
you really should have.
I didn't do it.
So I know the one that I know right away is I said I'm going to shoot in the 60s more than the 80s at Honeybrook Golf Club.
Yes.
And it's neck and neck right now. Let me tell you, it remains 0-0. No score. It's a pitcher's duel in the 60s versus 80s match. I'm at least, I don't know how many rounds. I should have looked up how many rounds I've played at Honeybrook. I think we're over 20
Yeah.
for the year. And none in the 60s, also none in the 80s.
Do you know off the top of your head what your low and your high round at Honeybrook might be this year?
I believe 71 and 78.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
So
So
close to each, but
a lot of 74s, a lot of 75s so far. I have in my handicap right now, I've got so in my last 20 rounds, I know I've got at least like 5 75s at Honeybrook, I believe.
yeah.
So a lot of that where it's just like could hitting the ball okay, but just not sharp and not not going low, but not blowing up either. I haven't not making a lot of doubles, but yeah. So I mean, so 0-0 in the 60s versus 80s.
And you would say, I think I've heard you say this multiple times this year, that you just haven't had a great round this year. There's always
Yeah.
been one or two holes that have kept you from a great round.
Yeah, we actually even just yesterday we played 9 holes, walked with Rachel and Erica actually, which was fun. And I shot 35, so even par, and it was sort of the perfect example though of what I mean, where it's like just keeping it from being great. Where it's like, yeah, okay, even par. I would have absolutely taken an even par round, but I played great the whole time. I made 3 birdies in the holes we played. I just barely missed another one. I was just playing so solid, and there was one shank that led to a double bogey to go to put me at even. And I'm like, I've played well enough to shoot 3 under par in those 9 holes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just sort of like I just have not had a single round where it's like I just sort of ran out of holes and I had a good score. It's like it feels like it's just always something. I don't want to say something stupid because it's a bad shot. That shank was a bad shot, obviously, but it's just sort of like I put 30 3 good swings on the ball yesterday, and it's just like I somehow one swing got away from me and cost me.
Yeah. Another one of your goals was related to the club championship, which we're about 2 months away from. Remind me what that was again?
Just to once again be in the final group at the club championship.
Okay.
So that's again, I think I said this last transparency check-in. Really should have thought of a better goal because until the club championship, I'm just gonna be like, yep, that is still the goal. But so not a great goal for podcasting. So that's on me. That's on me.
It's fine. So yeah, you had like an improvement goal, a maintenance goal, and then a
Yep. The lofty goal was the 60s versus the 90s. The maintenance goal
versus
was
the 80s. Yeah.
yeah, 60s versus the 80s.
Okay.
My final goal, I had a couple goals, so I'm gonna, I don't think I really set down on my final goal. So I definitely mentioned at one point that I would love to be a plus 0.1 at some point this year. My handicap's gone the opposite direction, even though I feel like my game is improving. I know that's hard to believe when your handicap's going the other direction, but I still feel like it's not a crazy goal. I feel like there could be a stretch of 20 rounds this year at some point when I am playing that well. And so I'm not giving up on that one. I'm not giving up on it. The other goal whacking my microphone. The other goal that I had mentioned was that I wanted to have at least one practice session in addition to playing every week. And as we said at the top here, I am exceeding that goal by a lot. So and loving it. And loving every minute of it. It's so much fun to actually feel like I have enough practice time and don't have to carve it out, and it's just going to happen. It's going to continue to happen for the rest of the year, and I'm excited to see that goal parlay itself into the plus 0.1 goal. They're all going to work together into one big glorious goal.
I feel like the way you're talking, you definitely think your best golf is ahead of you this year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you probably always feel like that, but
no,
really, right
I don't always feel like that.
Okay.
but I definitely do right now. I feel like I'm having moments of striking the ball the best I ever have, and I have been using your putter recently. I switched to the mallet putter, and I've been putting great. And I just feel like, if I'm being honest with you, I feel like I'm going to put some stuff together this year that turns into some really good stuff. I feel like there's a 66 in me this year at Honeybrook. I feel like there's going to be just like a 4 or 5 under par day at some point this year. That's sort of, it would be a breakthrough for me. And so that's a bold claim, but I feel like it's in there, and I feel like I'm not far from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't maybe 3 weeks ago that I sort of felt like that as well. I was just starting to talk in the third person more. I was, I had a chance to shoot even par for the first time ever on the final hole. I thought I'm going to be here often. And here we are 3 weeks later, and I am feeling a little discouraged, Adam. We're going to go over my goals, and so we'll talk about how they fit into things. But I don't know. I was at a 5.0. The handicap's back up to 6.2, and I'm having these blow-up holes pop up. I saw my coach last week to talk about cleaning up around the green, especially 20-yard or so pitch shots, and he showed me some things that have been good, but like I've kind of taken a step back to take 2 steps forward because I'm sort of relearning a few things. Anyway, let's go through my golf goals. Number 1, I wanted to play 100 rounds this year. Do I regret this goal? No, I don't, because I love golf. But, yesterday was Memorial Day. That was round number 43 for me, and I played this morning, so that's round number 44 here as we close out May. So I'm pretty much right on pace for that, but I have played a lot of golf, and so I'm going to have to continue to play a lot of golf, which, again, normally I'm real excited about. Right now I'm kind of like,
You're just in a discouraged moment.
I
Listen,
am.
your new competitive Brian gets discouraged. That's okay. That's
Is it
the you
though?
Yeah, you're allowed to get discouraged and play through it and find some resiliency, you know? That's how you and that will pad you in the future. You'll build that muscle and you'll
Okay.
build those calluses and you'll get less discouraged next time.
Okay. I'm gonna believe that you're telling me the truth. I had another goal of having 59s that were in the 30s, and I am at 28. 28 times I've been in the 30s. So again, I'm on pace now. 3 weeks ago, I actually was thinking, man, that goal is going to be way too easy to achieve. That goal is actually going to hold me back because I don't want to feel like going 39-39 is a win. That's how I was feeling. And I
Right.
think there might be some truth to that. But I went 42-41 today, and I would have taken 39-39. So,
Yeah. I mean, you're one good round away from being right back where you were 3 weeks ago. So
yeah.
you've had a little bit of a weird few weeks.
Yeah.
It's no big. And it's not like you're not shooting terrible scores. You haven't thrown up an 87. There's no 87s in there.
Right.
They're just not. You were pushing career best type stuff, and now you're playing average.
Yeah.
And it's like that's all it is.
And and I know I'm going to do the thing that every golfer does that is so eye roll, but uh, the triple that I took today, it was on a par five, and it started off with a really poor drive. I drove the ball well all day. If I hit that drive in the fairway, probably make a five, probably shoot. What did I say? I shot 83, so I shoot 80, and while it's not a 79, I still, yeah,
Yep.
kind of one swing. Maybe. Anyway, I had a goal of playing in 10 different places other than Pennsylvania. I have Florida, Mexico, Arizona, San Diego, and I've added the state of Maryland, which
There you go.
is close to Pennsylvania, but I'm halfway there in that goal. Finally, I had the goal of playing 36 holes 5 times. This one I'm slacking on. I've only done it once, and
Okay.
it was a little bit of a slog, although I did shoot 79, 78 at Honeybrook. This one is going to take some intentionality. This one is probably going to take your help. And I know we're not quite yet in the season where you're going to be able to play 36 holes, but we're getting there. And so I'm going to
We
need your
are.
help with this one.
Yeah, we'll be able to do it. It's kind of funny because I do think it's partly because we have been playing a lot of golf. So, I'm always more tempted to play 36 holes when I don't feel like I'm playing enough golf because it's like I got out here, let's just keep playing, and it's like, well, we've been getting out, a good amount.
Right.
So there's a little less urgency to do that emotionally, but we set it as a goal publicly to hundreds or thousands of listeners, right?
Yeah.
So we got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah. So I'll wrap up my goal talk by saying this. Yes, I am a little discouraged. I come to you, fine people, in a little bit of a discouraged state. I do love the game of golf. I am happy I made all these goals. They're all sort of volume based in a way. And I do want to hit them. And the way I feel right now, if I didn't have a goal of playing 100 rounds this year, I almost feel like I know that I wouldn't do it because maybe I'd start tapering off a little bit. But I made a commitment and I'm going to do it. I'm going to push through, and I think some good golf is ahead for me as well. At least I hope so.
Yeah. Again, it's just the discouragement talking. If you'd shot 79 today at Windcote in the wind, you'd be like, yeah, I'm playing some good golf.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous because it's a couple shots different. You played fine. You played fine. You would have been thrilled with that like 3 years ago.
Yeah, isn't there's such a, we talked about this a little bit, there's such a different thing between the other day when I had that 9, it was like, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like I played 16 holes at 3 over par, and then I had 2 blow up holes that I played at like 8 over par or something outrageous.
Right.
There's that 81, and there's the 81 where, you don't make any putts all day and you have like 10 bogeys and a double. And I guess I'm trying to find the silver lining in the fact that, hey, I played 16 great holes the other day and two crap ones. And then today, like I had one double, one triple. I played a lot of good golf, but those blow up. But at the end of the day, all that matters is the score you're putting up. So it feels like I'm talking in a circle and there's no question and there's no answer to this. So save me from this sentence, Adam.
I feel like when I when I go through a period where I feel like blow up holes are the issue, I try to just put them out of my brain because they are anomalies, and so to happen in a bunch, you might not make another 9 at Honeybrook all year,
Right.
like literally, and so it's something where it's like, yeah, that the fact that you played well in those other holes, that just sort of means, yeah, you were playing well. You had 16 good holes. If you could go play those other two holes again, you would have, you'd probably post a 74 or something, and so it's like, yeah, you're right there.
Okay. Okay. I feel better. You got me there.
Okay, cool.
You got me there. All right. So let's talk about brand goals. Let's get back to being discouraged because I don't know if any of these numbers are going to be encouraging. Do you want to start with the most encouraging or the most discouraging?
Let's start slow. Let's build up.
Okay. So I've got my tote board here. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. I'm not going to keep it in front of the screen the whole time, but I just want you to see that this is a thing that exists. And
It's an artistic masterpiece, is what it is.
it is pretty good. I mean, look at the job I did on those logos with the different colored
Incredible.
whiteboard
The Twitter bird
markers.
looks a little more obese than normal, but other than that,
It does, yeah.
he's
Really like the TikTok. I got the blue highlights and the red in there.
yeah, that is nice. That's good.
It's fantastic. Let's start with our email list, which we started at the beginning of the year. Last month we were at 140 subscribers. Right now we're at 143. So we only added
Okay.
3
Okay. Okay.
in the month of May. We did our PGA Championship Challenge and had a bunch of people who did the first one play the second time, but we only had 3 new people. So
We didn't do a lot of advertising for that. It was
is true.
it was a little more last minute than the Masters one. So I'm still encouraged for in the future. I think we will have more success in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be doing one for the U.S. Open. Be announcing that probably on next week's podcast. So we'll let you know. Twitter, we've grown basically 2%. Our combined Twitter followers from 2840 to 2890. Again, really nothing to write home about. I tried to write a letter to my parents yesterday telling them about this Twitter growth, and I couldn't do it. So that's
The post office wouldn't even mail that letter. They're like, no, if we can't use our resources for this.
the thing came up on the screen. It was like anything liquid, fragile, hazardous. Is this worthy of sending to your parents? No.
And I'm like, well, get out of here.
Had to answer no. TikTok, we've gone from 20,013 followers to 20,017 followers. So we've added 4 followers on TikTok. We have amassed another around 3,500 likes over the past month.
I got a cough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Wow. Ooh.
That was a good cough.
Thank you.
That's a great cough. Yeah, we've amassed 3,500 TikTok likes to get us up to like 998,433. We're close to the million like thing, which will be
Yeah.
cool when it happens. But
I might try to post a manipulative video saying I'm only 2,000 likes from a million. Help me out, kind of thing, and get us to cross that line.
yeah, what would actually be the backdrop of that video? Would it be your face saying what you just said in that way, or
Probably my face with our homepage behind me, like on a green screen, and I'm pointing at it.
would you have a shirt on, or would it be KT tape torso, Adam?
No, not even that. Just nude, but obviously from the waist up, because it's TikTok,
Well, then we're definitely going to hit that goal. That's going to be easy. Yeah, I'll finish out the numbers, and then we can kind of talk about content in general as we finish up the episode. With YouTube, we've gained 16 subscribers from 103 to 119. We've added 3,200 views in the past month,
Okay.
from 10,600 to 13,800. So that's grown like 15%, which is small, modest growth, but growth nonetheless. Same thing with Instagram, from 1,450 combined followers to 1,520. So again, that's 5% gross growth. Easier for me to say. Finally, with the podcast, we have added 4 more episodes in the last month. As of the end of May or the end of April, we were averaging like 310 downloads for every new episode, and now we're averaging about 450 downloads every new episode. We're up to like 7,500 downloads total. So that's exciting. I think that's encouraging. That's some slow growth.
Yeah. No, see, that's not even slow growth, Brian. That's just growth.
Or good,
You know,
good growth.
that's just growth. 310 to 450 in a month. In one, we're still what is this, month 3?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a significant percentage in that month. If we could continue that kind of growth, we will be getting somewhere. And the thing is, I'm not discouraged by any of the other numbers that we're talking about because really, and we've talked about this before, since we started this podcast, we've put all our energy basically into this podcast.
Right.
And I don't think that will always be true, but I do think it's the biggest branch of what we're doing. And I think that we have not been deliberately trying to grow anything else. We've been, I've posted some videos on TikTok. We've posted some things on YouTube, so it's not like we've been completely stagnant, but 95% of all our energy is going to this. And so, and to be honest, when we started this, I had no idea what would be a success, what would make it worth doing, any of that. And if I had known that we would have, 450 people listening to this podcast, I would have signed up right away.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have even thought about it. And I'm like, so for me, that is a success, and I'm excited about where this is going.
Yeah. And yeah, I want to be clear that I'm not. I appreciate every single one of the 450 people who are currently listening to our episode. Those are all like first week. Those are all 7-day numbers. And I am, yeah, maybe not blown away, but like I am very grateful that anybody would listen to us talk about golf. So it is really awesome that there's 450 people, and I do hope that keeps growing. But yeah, we haven't. You're right. We've really focused most of our energy on the podcast, which I don't regret either. I love doing the podcast. We haven't really focused much on these other things. So yeah, the fact that I'm measuring them and that we're managing them, but the growth isn't there is like a little discouraging. But I don't think the answer is that we want to stop measuring them or that we want to stop
Right.
doing that other stuff. But it also tells me that it's not going to happen. It's not just going to happen. We're not just going to start adding a ton of Instagram followers or popping off on TikTok or whatever unless we do start figuring some stuff out or certain,
Right.
you know what I mean?
We've talked about this a little bit, but the reality is, and I don't know, maybe someone who really knows what they're talking about in terms of what some of these things are worth, would say differently. But so like something like TikTok is where we have the biggest following by far, so we have 20,000 followers and almost 1 million likes on there. And that's so fun, and when it does pop off sort of, it's such a good time. But at the same time, the limitation of TikTok is that it's not the type of creative stuff that you want to do. You're kind of a slave to the algorithm a little bit. And I have not felt like there was any ability to kind of bridge the gap between a TikTok video and something else. Like, I don't think we're getting any listeners from TikTok, even though
Right.
I've put up videos trying to, herd people that way. And so it's like, for me, even though that is so much fun, like I would give away the 20,000 followers on TikTok before the 450 doing this in a second, because this is something that we love doing, and this is something that is more creatively fulfilling and more what we would want to do. And so that's where I'm at on that. Where it's like, yeah, I want TikTok to do well. I love when TikTok does well. I think there is a chance that that could continue to grow and become something that is still a big branch of what we are doing. But but yeah, I just think that even 450 people who are substantively listening to something like this is so much more important than 20,000 people who happen to follow us on TikTok and
Yeah.
for whatever stupid video we put up.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
very
those-
rambly.
No, I no, I agree. I agree though. I agree with the focus on the podcast over TikTok and the frustration with the fact that it takes a certain kind of video to really pop on TikTok, and maybe that's not exactly the kind of content that we want to create. Over the past month, I feel like it's been 2 months since our last little check-in here, so that definitely covers the span of when we released our all of our T-Box chatter videos. It started with an animal one, I think, right? That was the
Yep.
first one that we did. And then we went to biblical, and we put out 3 biblical versions, maybe each one more ridiculous than the next.
Yep.
Those were fun.
Those are fun, and it's such an interesting example to me where it's like those did not do well on TikTok because they're not built for TikTok, right? They were made like TikTok videos, but they did seem to resonate with the people we would want them to resonate with.
Yeah.
We've gotten more feedback, so way less feedback than from some things on TikTok. Our golf brand draft had literally thousands and thousands of thousands of people giving us feedback. But nobody we cared about, nothing substantive. And then something like that, we've had 10 people, come up to us on the golf course and say, "Oh, that those Bible tee box videos were so funny to me," and
Yeah.
it's like, it's just an interesting dichotomy where it's like, what is more valuable to you? Just thousands of people in the ether, or a couple people you care about and are your target audience?
Right. And some people that we care about hated it as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. It was very polarizing, which we're fine with.
Yeah. No, that's fine. You can hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do we go from here? We're about to get into June. We're about to get into longer days. Your schedule might be freeing up just a little bit more. The opportunity to maybe play a little bit more, to also maybe record some more stuff or be more diligent. One of the things that we definitely have on our plate for June and July is that we're going to be doing some videos specific for Honeybrook
Yeah.
that we're excited about. Those are going to be taking up a bit of time as well, but certainly not going to preclude us from doing other videos as well. So as I want to know what you're thinking, I want to peer into your heart, Adam. I want to know, as you think about, with the Honeybrook videos aside, what do you think about like June and July, about time spent on the course, about trying to put up some good rounds, about seeing if you can get that handicap lower, but also balancing that with the goofing off stuff, with maybe trying to actually write and prepare some ideas beforehand, or maybe doing the thing we love to do where we just kind of spitball and put stupid ideas on camera. What gets you the most excited as you look ahead into these summer months?
I find
Don't tell me the answer. Sorry. Don't tell me
Yeah.
the answer you think I want to hear, which I don't think you would. I genuinely want to know.
I couldn't care
what it
less what
says.
you want to hear. No. I think for me, since we started this podcast, it's very hard for me to care about anything other than this. And so, like, this is something where it's like I really want to. Podcasting's more of a diligence thing than these other things, where it's like, no, we've created this expectation that episodes are going to be dropped on Thursdays, and so we want an episode every Thursday. And so, it's not always the easiest thing. Sometimes we've gotten to Monday or Tuesday and it's been like, oh, we gotta record our episode or else we're gonna be late, And so there's that. And then if just emotionally, I want to I want to continue to do this podcast, and the biggest thing I want to do is continue to come up with things in our real lives that are fun to talk about on this podcast. So whether that's entering competitions, whether that's what's most important to me by far. And I a part of me wants the video creation to continue to be the organic thing it's always been, where it's like when that happens, it happens. But at the same time, I know that in the bigger picture of what we would like to create and have Bag Chatter be, if it's just completely that without any effort and preparation, it's probably not going to ever turn into what we might hope it could be someday.
Yeah. So nothing that we've done. So the little bit of stuff that we've done with like YouTube and some of the TikTok stuff, like none of that stuff makes you be like, gosh, we got to do more of this. Like, I can't wait to get out and do the next 12-minute match, or I can't wait to figure out some new twist on the T box chatter idea or something like that.
Well, whenever we have an idea for a video, I love doing that, and it's super exciting and fun to me. But I think again, this is it's not necessarily the lazy answer, but it's the emotional answer. Is that like one of the things I love about the podcast format is that we when we are out there, it is fully normal for us. You know what I mean? We are doing what we've always done, and then creating content at other times about what we're doing. And so and maybe it's just because I've played bad every time we turn the camera on. Maybe that has a part to do with it. Whenever I think about doing a 12-minute match, I'm not thinking about golf in those moments. I'm thinking about something else. Yeah. And I don't love that feeling, but that doesn't really matter. In the big picture of what we're trying to do.
That's interesting. We've talked about this, but that's so interesting to me because when I think about doing a 12-minute match, I get excited. I like the idea of being on camera, and I like the idea of, okay, I'm not actually like grinding on golf right now. I am trying to play good golf, obviously, but like I'm kind of entertaining as well. So I'm still myself, but I kind of amp it up a little bit and get a little more chatty and a little more goofy and hopefully a little more entertaining. So yeah, I actually like, I'm excited about that, but I'm not saying that to say like, gee, if you were like me, we'd be doing a lot more YouTube. That's not at all my agenda here, because kind of like you, the podcast is probably the most important thing to me. And I don't know if we ever got to a place where we're like, these other things are almost holding us back, maybe even from the podcast being better, or they're just distractions, then I would consider, I mean, not that we're putting a ton of time into these other things, we're really not at all, but I would consider dropping them in service of the podcast if that made the most sense.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever stop making videos. I think we enjoy making videos when we have the right idea too much, to ever even think about stopping it. But it is one where like I feel like I have endless energy for the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like that will last me years. I've got years left before I'm ever feeling wearied by this process.
Yeah.
And that is, you do a lot of the editing, so that's or all of the editing.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I have less to do. I just get on here and chat with you, and I love doing that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the other things are something where it's like I have to feel like an idea, just a stroke of brilliance comes to us, and then I'm excited. But I don't tend to sit around and think about that like I do about the pod. I think about like in between on just random days. I'm like, how do we grow this podcast? What's a topic that's going to be interesting? What, etc. And I don't tend to do that for the other things.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's just that the other things feel a little bit more like effort, and this feels like I'd be upset if it went away.
Okay. I'm going to throw out a proposal to you,
Okay.
and you tell me what you
I
think about it.
reject it. I reject it. Out of hand.
I was going to see if you were interested in me buying you new irons and a new driver every year for the next 5 years in exchange for you just being nicer to me. And but apparently you rejected it, so that's a
I
problem.
rejected it. Dang it.
So here's my idea. What if sometime in the month of June, probably more toward the back end because of what I'm about to lay out, we set aside one day of golf where we try to make a bunch of content. We go into the day. We go into the day with, um, 5 TikTok ideas, maybe one YouTube specific idea, and I guess TikTok ideas really you could use on Instagram, you could use on Twitter, you could put those everywhere. But
Right.
maybe like 5 short form ideas, or maybe 10, and maybe one YouTube video. But sometime we're like, we're gonna go out today. We're probably not gonna keep score because whether we move through the course 1 through 18 or we do something else, the goal today is to try to get a bunch of content on
Yeah.
camera. What do you think about that?
I love that idea. And I think we could we could just do a 12-minute match in that time where it's
Yeah.
and so I think, I have struggled a little bit with, again, because I struggle to play well when we're recording for whatever reason. Like when we're in the middle of a real round and then it's like, okay, these next 6 holes are going to be a match, which we've done a number of times for YouTube stuff. That just feels like, oh, I'm basically throwing away these 6 holes. It shouldn't feel that way. I
Right.
shouldn't, have that be the case. But I just know that I'm not going to be able to focus on golf the way I normally do when I'm playing. So like setting something aside and saying this is a day for that is a very different feel to me. So I
Yeah.
love that idea.
Okay, let's do that and let's see how that feels. We'll commit to doing that. We'll see if we actually do it. I would like to.
Yeah. There's no
It's
reason
gonna,
I shouldn't.
yeah, it would require. I really would like to go into that day with some ideas and not just we'll figure it out, because that doesn't always work. And then if we do commit to that, then on the other end, next time we do this, we can talk about like, hey, that was amazing, or wow, what a waste of a day, that was terrible. Because it might be we've said since the start of this podcast that we don't really know exactly where we're going with the brand. All we know is that we love playing golf. We want to get better. And if we can entertain people in some way, then, that's kind of the sweet spot. So it could be that 2, 3 months from now, we're like, hey, we're never going to be St. Andre, and, we just don't have that many good ideas. Or maybe we don't even enjoy doing that stuff as much as we thought. And maybe we just kind of put some of that stuff aside. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the future. But what I don't
No.
want to do is get to the end of the year and be like, well, we kind of thought some of that stuff might happen organically, and then it never did, and we never got intentional about it, and oh well. So
Now the year's over.
yeah.
Yep. No, I like the idea. I say we commit to it and we do it.
Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on the growth of the podcast, or how you're feeling about social media? Anything I can do better? Anything you can do better?
I don't know. I think this is kind of fun. We might not include this in the podcast,
Okay.
but I think a kind of. By the way, I have to leave in like 15-20 minutes. So
I was kind of wrapping up
yeah,
now.
I figured we were wrapping. I figured we were wrapping up, but I'm
Yep.
like, so I'm if it gets to like 4:15, I'm gonna have to fairly
Yeah.
abruptly go. I think something I think about a lot with the podcast, and I don't know the answer to it. So something that I've joked with you a lot about is that I'm not someone who consumes a lot of golf content.
Yeah.
I love golf, and I've enjoyed making content on TikTok where I grew that brand, my Snow or Shine brand, and that then turned into Bag Chatter. I love doing this. But I don't watch any golf YouTube. I don't watch golf stuff on TikTok almost at all. I don't listen to any golf podcasts except some of Chasing Scratch, just because I know them now. Like
Right.
that's the only reason. It's just not my thing. I love playing golf and I love talking about golf, and so it's funny to me because I don't know what things we do would resonate most with the people who enjoy our podcast most. So the things I tend to think of for like what is going to make this interesting going forward, I'm like, well, I think, the US Open qualifier I thought was an interesting piece of content. So I'm like, well, how can I duplicate that? On my end, how can I duplicate that? Is that just entering other qualifiers? Is that just competing as much as I can and kind of tracking along with that? Or is it completely different things? So like, I think we got a lot of good feedback for our first transparency check-in, and there are multiple things on our podcast where I go, I would never listen to that.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to I hope that in a few months we have a more defined understanding of what it is that the people who like us, what do they like? How could we do more of that? And what does that look like?
Yeah.
Because there are times when I think about it when I don't feel hopeless in it at all because it's new and we're growing, but I'm sort of like I have no idea what form it's going to take over time, what the things that are the most interesting. I feel like the things that are most interesting to people might be completely off of my radar. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I'm in a little bit better position than you because I do actually consume a lot of golf media. Like I listen to No Laying Up, I listen to Chasing Scratch religiously. Occasionally listen to Fairway Rolling on the Ringer. I tend to I browse YouTube and watch not a lot of golf content, but certainly more than you. And even I'm in the same position where it's like, well, I don't even know what necessarily our sweet spot is. Certainly, we wouldn't have done this if we didn't think that we had talent's not the right word, but a little bit of. We wouldn't have done this if we didn't think we were good at it a little bit, but mostly we do it because we enjoy doing it, and it's like, hey, come along, on the journey if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. People, every single listener to the podcast right now might be saying, yeah, we love the podcast, but we don't care at all about any YouTube video you put up or any,
Right.
silly short form video ever. I don't feel like that's the case. We do get, some good
Right.
feedback on that stuff, but sort of figuring out, we're not only interested in being successful. We obviously want to be successful in the things that we enjoy doing. And I don't think we don't do anything that we don't enjoy to some level. But yeah, I want to put more effort. As long as I'm enjoying it, I want to put more effort into the things that are going to be well received and that people
Right.
are going to enjoy. So
It's so different from TikTok. So I got in this habit of building this TikTok brand, and it was so different because you got instant feedback all the time. So you learned what worked, what doesn't work, and sometimes you'd put something up that got a lot of views, and a bunch of people would tell you they hated it and why they hated it, or that they liked it and why they liked it. There'd be thousands of people doing that, and podcasting is so different than that because the goal isn't to go viral. We're never going to have an episode go viral. It's going to be slow growth, hopefully, until
Yeah.
it's something noticeable. And what's even more weird about it is that there's almost no feedback. We have some Twitter interactions with people that are fun and that kind of thing. But if we didn't know that there were 450 people listening, we wouldn't know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's just so interesting to me because there's that lack of feedback. I feel like we could be doing something. We could have some bit or something we're doing that everybody hates. Maybe they like our rapport and our friendship, but there could be a thing we do every week that everybody hates universally,
Yeah.
and we would never change it because because there's no way to know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and you're right. I hope none of our podcast episodes ever go viral, because if they go viral, it will surely be for the wrong reason.
That's right.
Hey, did you hear that golf podcast where that guy got mugged in the middle of somebody broke into his house and beat the crap out of him? It's all on the podcast.
Honestly, if that got us more views, I would take it. That's fine.
Do you
If
think I
we,
can?
yeah, go ahead.
I was say, do you think I could? You think I could find somebody on Fiverr who might, for just for just like $20, come in and just beat the crap out of you?
I would take a solid beating for 10,000 extra listeners. Like, like,
Everybody's got a price.
yeah, it's not even that high.
All right. Well, overall, I'm feeling encouraged by the podcast numbers for sure. A little shout out to Mike from Chasing Scratch for being our first guest. He definitely gave us a little bump. That was very kind of him. I am a little bit discouraged by the other numbers, but for me, that kind of ties back to last fall when we sort of started. I wouldn't even say we got more serious about it, but we were a little more intentional about making content. And it was sort of the low hanging fruit of ideas that we kind of have always thought were funny. And so they were just
Yeah.
coming out and we were doing them. Not that we got wild success from them, though we did get a little bit. So I feel like not being able to replicate that at all in the last 6 months and seeing that in the numbers as well has been a little bit frustrating to me. And I'm not frustrated with myself or with you, just kind of frustrating
Right.
in general. So I'd love to give that a little bit more of a shot. But I mean, overall, the podcast is growing. I'm excited about that. And our golf games are kind of trending in the right direction, despite my discouragement today.
Yeah.
I kind of like where we're headed.
No, I'm enjoying every second of it, and can't wait for the rest of this year and years to come, Brian.
Years to come. And that's the other thing to remember is that this is literally our first year doing this. So,
Yeah, this is
it's pretty new.
This is brand new. This is a
Yeah.
brand new thing, and we got stuff to talk about. We got some numbers to at least talk about, so that's good. You know.
This is true. We also have some golf to talk about. We got a team match that we're probably playing next week. And I'm playing in Lancaster Country Club's member guest next weekend. I'm certainly not going to go hole by hole and all that, but I hope to have a good report about how that goes.
That's what you
later
always
this
say
month.
before you go hole by hole.
It's
You always
true.
go, I'm certainly not going to go hole by hole. But on
me
hole one,
tell
I
you,
hit an incredible drive.
I vow to you. I vow to you. I will not go hole by hole when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And last thing I'll say to the listeners is have a June mailbag, probably coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So if you have any questions you would like us to talk about on the mailbag, whether it's in regard to the numbers, maybe some of the stuff we talked about today, or about anything else, you know where to find us on socials, or you can email us at bagchattergolf@gmail.com.
Yeah, or if you just want to write us something to tell us that thing that everyone universally hates, let us know. You know,
Yeah.
it's like someone's got something in their teeth. We want to know. Like a good friend would tell us.
Yeah, please stop holding out on us. Please let us know. Maybe use the sandwich method. Maybe tell us one thing that you like about us. Then you can tell us the thing that you and everybody else hates. And then follow it up with something nice about Adam's eyes matching his hat or something like that.
That is nice, isn't it? That's good. That's good.
That is a really good look. I think it's time to go. I think you need to go clock in and help people find their golf swings and maybe take a few swings yourself over at Golf Zone.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Brian, thank you for taking the time to do this today.
You know what? The pleasure was all mine. So thank you for doing it as well. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Salutations.
Goodbye.